Class. So this is just an extra quick video to help interpret some of the results for Lab 4.2. I had a few of you reach out and say that you didn't understand what it was saying, or it was confusing, or you needed help with this particular data set. And if we were in class, we would just talk about it in class, because I bet everybody has the same questions, or most everybody does. If two of you or three of you emailed me, then probably more of you, but you either don't know how to email the question and like word it because you're not really understanding what you're not understanding, which is totally valid. All of that to say, because it's an online class, it's a little bit more difficult. So instead of replying to your emails individually, I thought it would be easier to just make a video clarifying a few things with your specific data set. And then if you still have questions, definitely email me again. But I've extended the deadline one more week. So it's not due this Sunday. What's the Sunday's date? The 23rd. It's due the 30th now. So you have a little bit more time. Let me share my screen. So I took our data set. So not ones that I've used in previous semesters or anything like that. I took our data set and I did the ANOVA in JASP, and I have blotted out a few things because I don't want to give you all of the answers. I want you to work a little bit, but I want you to also understand what you're doing. All that to say. So you can see up here, I clicked ANOVA and I got this screen here and I put in correct recall because we're seeing if our participants remembering things is dependent upon whether they had an encoding queue or a retrieval queue. So those were our fixed factors. So as soon as I put those in, it started running in the ANOVA over here on this side. So you can see I got my sum of squares, my degrees of freedom, my means are here, and then my F stats are here, but I blacked those out because I want you to get your own F stats. But it seemed like most of the difficulties were regarding interpreting the p-value. So here are the p-values that I got. So I got that when there's an encoding queue as a factor, it is significant, right? And that's pretty high significance. 0.001, that's as good as it gets. And then when retrieval queue was a factor, it was 0.002, which is very close. That's less than 0.005 or 0.05, which is our other threshold, right? So that's exciting. And then to see if there was an interaction effect here between encoding queue and retrieval queue, it is not significant. So it doesn't look like they're interacting between each other, but it looks like on their own, maybe there's significance with encoding or retrieval queues being present. So then I clicked over here, descriptives, just so I can see some means and standard deviations. And then I clicked down here on descriptive plots so I can see which direction things are going, because I know there's significance, but I don't know what the significance is. So by clicking this descriptive plot button over here, I got this. You do not need to include this in your paper, but it's helpful to actually see a picture of the data. So what I see here is that when retrieval queues were absent, the scores are lower than when retrieval queues were present. And then I see down here, here's my encoding queue. So absent encoding queue, present encoding queue, absent retrieval queue, present retrieval queue. So here's my correct recall. So we're seeing how many words that the participants got correctly. So participants got the most words correctly when retrieval queue was present and encoding queue was present. That makes sense, right? You had this word that you were giving them while they were studying, and then that word was also on their paper to kind of jog their memory. So that would maybe make sense to me that if a retrieval queue was present at both encoding and retrieval, that queue looks like we got the most significance there. And then it looks like maybe we got the least when a retrieval queue is absent at encoding and retrieval. So that would be our no, was it the NC? Then they had no queues at all. And so then it looks like the next one might have been when encoding queue was present at encoding, when the retrieval queue was present at encoding, but not at, sorry, hold on. Let me read this one. I can understand why y'all are struggling. These little dots mean so much. So it looks like here, this dot, we have retrieval queue present at, so the retrieval queue was present add encoding. And then that was the next one. And you can look here on our interaction effect, and encoding queue and retrieval queue was not significant. And so when you look at those two lines, you can see that they're going completely different ways. And so they are not going to interact. There wasn't an interaction effect. And then the F stats there that you could see. So hopefully that cleared up a little bit of the data. And so you remember that ANOVA is just us being able to compare more than 3 or more different factors. So with the t-test, we were able to do 2. We could compare one to the other and how it was different than the median population, the average, right? And how much they differed from the mean. But we can't really do that anymore if we have more than 2 factors. And so in this one, we have encoding at, or Q at encoding, Q at retrieval, no Q at encoding, no Q at retrieval, a Q at encoding and not retrieval, right? We had our 4 different conditions. And so the reason that we needed to use an ANOVA is so that we can see those 4 different conditions and if they interacted with each other at all. So hopefully that cleared it up a little bit. Like I said, if not, send me another email and we'll chat again about that. But let me find you and stop my recording. I can't too. Ah, found it.